then you schlep to the chas, you're complaining, oh, it's too long and schlepping. Not easy to be Mesameach Chassav Kala, right? Happens to be coming up in 2 blot from now. Friday's blot or Shabbos is blot. Bez Hashem is the Ketzim Rakim Fnei Akala. Anyways, okay. So now we start. Where do we leave off? We left off, I think, on the bottom, right? On the bottom of Gilma base. Yeah. So Hahu Orus Varusa. Yes. Again, we're talking about the sugya of safek and roiv, and how do we know that a woman is.
I think the Yehoshua definitely wanted a mussar.
Am I on or am I not on?
Now you're on.
You're back on now.
I don't know what's with this internet, if I tell you. Okay. I thought I ran to camp to get the better internet. Okay. Am I good now yet or not?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry, I apologize. So on the bottom, so again, Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer hold that we trust the woman. And whatever she says, we do trust. And Rabbi Yeshua says we don't trust. Right? That's the basic machlokes. So now we start with another case. If you have a guy who's engaged and his wife, and his kala, right? They were engaged. Meaning we call it engaged, but they really had kedushin. So essentially they're married. Also, look, of Yosef. They came in front of Rav Yosef and she was pregnant. Right? She says, I'm pregnant. He from him, for who I'm and he says, Antom Aleph now, in Minai, yeah, she's pregnant from me. Right? Now that's Stamach Kasha. What do you mean? How does he know? Was he with her? You have to say that he was with her 24 hours a day. Otherwise, who says it's from him? Maybe the same way she messed around with him, she messed around with somebody else. Right? So I think Tysus says it somewhere that it's talking about where he was with her a bunch of times. And we're going to say Roy Bila Sachar Abal, just like all of us, the same way all of us know that our kids are our kids. Right? So it goes Roy Bila Sachar Abal. Either way, so they both admitted, Sai her and Sai him. Some of Yosef, so what's the chashash here? Right? Means should she be also eventually to marry a kohen and her kids? Should they be also chada the hakamayda? Right? He was maida that he was with her. And we know that we believe the woman. So either way you cut the cake here, she should be believed that this baby is a kosher baby and not a mamzer. Right? So Abaya, so what is it's mashma that if he would not have been maida, meaning if the man would not have been maida, then Rabbi Gamliel would say kosher. Shmuel Rav Yehuda, Shinina, he said smart one, right? We had this a couple of days ago. Halacha Rabbi Gamliel, right? The halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, but don't paskin like him until you know that she is from she's in an area where roiv of the men are kosher. Right? Here, roiv of men in the world are passul to her. Why? Because she's engaged. So she's usher to every single man in the world except for her husband. So the roiv tells us that whoever she was with is passul. Right? The roiv is saying that she's passul. Again, the Gemara is saying that we believe him for 2 reasons. One, because he's maida. We believe her for 2 reasons. One, because the husband was maida, it was him. And 2, because we pass like Rabbi Gamliel. But the kasha is, it's mashma that if he wasn't maida, we'd still pass like Rabbi Gamliel. Right? Because he said we have 2 reasons to pass in this way. So we'd still pass like Rabbi Gamliel, but we learned that he had said that Shmuel told Rabbi Yehuda, don't pass like Rabbi Gamliel unless there's a roiv. Right? And if there's no roiv, then you can't paskin. And here, the roiv of the world to her is passul. 99.999% of the world, if they sleep with her, she's passul because she's married to a man, right? So how could you even paskin like Rabbi Gamliel? So what I asked, according to you, why don't you ask it itself as a kasha? Halacha, you're saying the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, but he said, but don't do anything about it. Halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, but don't do. Yeah? What are you going to say? Lechatchila, bidieved. One is talking about lechatchila, one is talking about bidieved. Meaning, if a kohen says he wants to marry this lady, so Bezdin will tell him, by the way, this lady had shilas because she was pregnant when she was engaged, and she had shilas. We don't know who it was. So if the kohen would come and ask if he should marry her, we tell him no. And bidieved, one is bidieved. If the kohen married her already, and then he finds out that in the history she had this situation, then we would be matter. But hanami kidieved, I mean, this is also kidieved, right? Because she's already engaged to this guy. So since this is a bidieved, so therefore we're going to be matter, right? So it comes out that maybe even though we paskin like Rabbi Gamliel, we're not going to paskin like Rabbi Gamliel on a lechatchila situation. So any one of these shilas that comes up where the woman was promiscuous, right? So then, and we say we paskin, we believe her, but that's only a lechatchila. That's only bidieved we're going to believe a lechatchila. We're not going to tell a kohen to go into such a marriage, right? So Gemara asks, so Ramile Abaya l'Rava.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't put something in there. What daf are we in? What daf are we on?
You dial it up at Aleph. We're about 10 lines down.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so Ramile Abaya l'Rava. So Abaya asked the kasha to Rava, me Amar of Yeshua ain't an amenes. Meaning going back in this whole sugya again, we had I think at least 5 cases yesterday of where she's pregnant and she claims, and where she got pregnant from a kosher person, and we had where they saw her biyichud and she claims she was biyachid with somebody who's kosher, etc., etc. So we said Rabbi Yeshua doesn't believe her. Rabbi Gamliel does believe her. So Ramali Abaya l'Rava, me Amar Rabbi Yeshua ain't an amenes. Does Rabbi Yeshua really say that she's not believed? I'll ask you, Stira, hey, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda ben Peseira, al almanas Isa, she kshera lekahuna. On an almanas Isa. So almanas Isa is it's the Isa's a dough, right? So he said Adus on a woman who's an almana. That's a mixture, meaning we don't know exactly where she comes from. Rashi has a couple of pshatim. What the safek are, Taisus doesn't like Rashi's pshatim, right? But we'll see in the Gemara Vayter exactly what it is. But so hey, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda say al almanas isa she ksheira lekahuna. So even though the safek is about her, she's kosher to kahuna, right? Why? Because she has a chazaka. She has a chazaka that she's kosher. So why is it? So why? How can Rabbi Yeshua believe her? No, he can't say that. Hasam isha nisas by dekes v'nisas, because since the woman got married to this man who had a shaila, meaning the pshat the pshat with almanas isa is that there was an issue with the husband. The husband may have been a chalal, right? He may have been a chalal, the husband. Meaning, what's a chalal? His mother was divorced and married a kohen, right? So the question is, if she marries him, now she becomes passul to kahuna. Then he dies. Now she wants to get remarried to a kohen. So the Gemara says, nah, she would have made sure, because Hasam Isha Nisas by Dekas Nisas. By that case, it's talking about where she got married. Nobody gets married without looking into the shidduch, right? So to know the story. So she got married must be that her husband was kosher. Hacha Isha Mazana by Dekas Mazana. So here we're talking about a woman that's being mazana. So does she check out who she's being mazana with? A woman is not l'chayra. L'chayra, a woman is not checking out who she's being mazana with. Right? It reminds me of the shaila that the guy asks, if he's going to be mazana, should he be mazana with a guy or a yid? Right? A lamdan who's going to be mazana, and he wants to know which one's better. All right, so what do we answer him? We answer him, we don't answer such shilas, meaning don't be from Don't be frum and not frum at the same time. You want to do something wrong, do it. I mean, not saying to do it, but if you're going to do it, don't start asking shilas to minimize the amount of issues that there are. Okay, but anyway, so a woman that got married must be that she got married to somebody kosher.
The quote from David Koh, there is no halachic answer to this shilah.
Right. That was the same thing, right? Yeah. So Amar Rava, the Rabbi Yeshua kasha, the Rabbi Gamliel, loy kasha. So you're saying you had a stira from Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Gamliel also has a stira. Katani safek. We learned in the safek. I'm gonna learn Rabbi Gamliel, right? So in that Mishnah, so they said to Rabbi Gamliel, Kavanu adusem, we're gonna be mekabel your edus, right? Avaman nasa sharei kosa Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai shalei lahoy shebezdin al kach shakahanim shaymin lechem l'rachak avalei lekarev. But what are we gonna do? He said, really, we mekabel your edus. That what you heard is true and that she's kosher. But Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made a gezerah that you're not allowed to make a bezdin because kehanim are only going to listen to the bezdin l'chumra, not l'kula. So if we're going to make a bezdin to say that this kohen is allowed to marry this woman, they're just going to say they're not going to listen. So out the bezoyin of the Beis Hamikdash of the bezdin, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, forget it. We're not doing bezdin anymore to help out kohanim. Yeah.
Is this related to, we had a few weeks ago that a psak for chumrah is not called a hira. Only l'kula is called a hira.
I don't know, because here this is a bezdin. It's not really there. We're just asking out hira.
So he's saying bezdin, the purpose of bezdin is for hira. But if it's only going to be l'chumrah, that's not a hira.
Okay, maybe. I hear that shot. I thought it was more. I forgot where I saw it, but that's more of a bizayon. But yeah, either way. So whatever it is, you see that we're not makabel. According to Gamliel, you should be makabel edus, but the bottom line is that we're not. So Elomarova, the Gamliel, like kasha, hasam bari. There it's a bari and hacha shema. There it's a bari. There the taina is 100%. He's 100% sure, right? Meaning, when the woman says that it was, that meaning when she says she was mezana with a guy, that guy is kosher, so she's a bari. She's 100% bari. Hacha, but here shema. But here it's a shema, meaning she doesn't know for sure. So, meaning by almanas isa. Just like we don't know, Rashi says, just like we don't know what this guy's status is. So Mamela, she doesn't know either. So it's a Shem. The Rabbi Yeshua, so Mamela, there's a difference whether the guy's tainas is tining for sure, which is a bari, or a Shema. And the Rabbi Yeshua,
This is the exact opposite svara that we just had in Rabbi Yeshua.
Well, we're going to mix the two together. Correct. It disagrees with the previous. Yes. This disagrees with the previous Gemara 100%. Yes, thank you, Gershon. I should have said that. Before we said that the woman has a chazaka, she's not only getting married to somebody she knows about. Here the Gemara is saying the opposite, right? Yeah. So Hasam okay. So that's Rabbi Gamliel. Again, Rabbi Gamliel is going to differentiate whether the person has a vadei taina or not a vadei taina. The Rabbi Yeshua, nami lekasha Hasam chad sveika hacha trei sveiki. Over there's one safek, right? Meaning we don't know whether the mother had a divorce or not. But here it's two safekas, right? Meaning, and now who the two safekas? That's already a big. You see the long Rashi on this. Who the trei safekas are? Meaning the suffix on the mother and there's a suffix on the son also. So in two safekas, we're not gonna say the same thing. That's the Gemara is explaining it right now. Hilchah for Rabbi Gamliel, according to Rabbi Gamliel, now here's the whole yesod of the whole thing, which is not easy to understand. But here, Rabbi Gamliel, olim le bari of somebody who has a bari, meaning who has a definite, he knows definitely what went on. If a guy has a vadei taina, then, or a woman has a vadei taina, it's better than even a safek, even one safek. The kayale shema, and if the person doesn't know for sure, but he just thinks that maybe I feel of a safek nami passul. R Gamliel is going to passul a shema, even if it's only a safek. Again, when something is a safek, so there's much less of a chance of it being a problem, right? But even so, if the person tining is only a shema, then it's not even strong enough to nix a safek. Yeshua says differently. Olim lechatchila safek. He looks at it from the opposite angle. If there's a safek here, we don't know who she slept with. One safek is strong enough to feel it bari nami passul. Even if the guy says for sure, we still say passul. But if it's a safek, the feel it b'shema nami mamzer. Even on a shema, we're going to say that it's kosher. Right? So two opposite views. According to R Gamliel, we put more emphasis on if the person has a definite taina, and according to R Yehshua, we put more emphasis on one safek versus two safekers. Okay, so fine. So Tana Rabban, now the Gemara says, what is this Almanas Isa? So Tana Rabban, Ezi Almanas Isa. What's Almanas Isa? Kol she'ein b'loy mishum mamzeres, b'loy mishum nesinas. He's not a mamzer, and he's not a nasin, right? B'loy mishum avdei melachim, and they're not avodim of melachim either. This Rashi says is referring to, we had that the avodim of Shlomo HaMelech were very wealthy, so therefore they intermarried. So that's not one of the chashashas. So Amar Rameir on top of base now. Shamati. So I heard kol shein ba'echad mikol elu masin lekahuna. If they don't have any of these things, then you're allowed to marry them off the kahuna, right? Which the Gemara is going to say like weiter. What exactly is the difference between this and the first sheet? What is an Almanas Isa? Kol shenitva v'safek chalal. If it's nitma means it's mixed into her, a safek whether she married a chalal, makirin Yisrael mamzerim shebeneim ve'im makirin chalalim shebeneim, because Yidden recognize mamzerim, meaning if there's a guy that's a mamzer, people are going to talk. People are going to say, this one's a mamzer. We're going to know if it's a mamzer, but people are not necessarily going to talk about chalal, right? So meaning if there's a shiloh whether he's a mamzer, so we're going to paskin that he's not a mamzer, because if he was a mamzer, everybody would talk about it. But if he's not a mamzer, if it was just a shiloh of chalal, so then we have to be concerned that he might have talked up in a chalal, because the chalal people might not know about. Fine. So now the Gemara is going to analyze this whole Gemara. So this price. So Amar Mar, Ezi Almanas Isa. Right? What's an Almanas Isa? Kol she'ein b'loy mishum mamzeres, v'loy mishum nesinos, v'loy mishum avdei melachim, ha'chalal kosher. It's mashma that if it's the whole shiloh here of what the status of this guy was, whether he was a chalal or not, then when he believed. Ma'ishna hanoch daraisa. Why are these different? Because they're daraisa, right? Meaning a mamzer and a nasin is daraisa. Chalal nami daraisa. A chalal is also a daraisa, right? So why are we believing him about mamzer and nasin any more than chalal? Vesu Amar Rameir Shamati Kol Shein Ba'echem Mikol Elu Masin Lekuna Hainu Tanakama. Where Rameir says, I heard that if he doesn't have any of these things, meaning mamzer nasin, then we marry him off to kahuna. That's exact same thing as the Tanakama. Vesu and a third kasha. Rav Shimon ben Elazar, Rav Shimon Rameir, B'cheinay Rav Shimon ben Asi Amar Kidvaro. Ezi Amana Sisa Kol Shenit Bava Safek Chalal. Makirin Yisom Mamzer Shebenein Makirin Chalal Shebenein. V'Amar Reisha Chalal Kasha. Right? So didn't you just finish saying that in the Reisha that a Chalal is kosher? Here you're saying that a Chalal is not kosher because people might not know about it. So how do we answer up all these three opinions in the Brisa? Right? Meaning again, it's Chalal is daraisa, so is mamzer and nasin. And what's the difference between the first two opinions? And then the third opinion seems to be a stira, because in the third opinion, it says we don't recognize chalalim, people don't talk about it, so therefore we're not going to trust him. But people do recognize mamzerim. So do you recognize chalalim or not? Meaning, are you worried about it or not? So Rav Yochanan says, interesting thing, mamzer savach the chalal shaisek ikabenai. A mamzer who screams, meaning when they tell him that he's a mamzer, he starts yelling that he's not a mamzer. And the chalal, when we tell him he's a chalal, like he gets up to get an aliyah, and we say, no, I'm sorry, you can't get an aliyah. The chalal shaisek ikabenai is the difference between them. Why? It's a Tanakama Sover called passul to karu anybody who's a passul. And we call out to him and he's quiet. Passul. then he's going to be passul, because why is he being quiet for? Right? Because Rashi says, Haida, if he was quiet, must be his mother to it. And this is what the Tanakam is saying. Ezi almonas isa, kol shein v'loish suk mamzeres, v'loish suk mesinas, v'loish suk avdei melachim, v'loish suk chalal. Meaning, he wasn't quiet for anything. He complained about each and every one. And therefore, he's kosher to marry because he yelled out against it. But Kamerle Rameir said, Hanahu the passul lekol. So Rameir said that these are the ones that are passul to come into the kol. Avos chalal kosher, but a chalal who's quiet, he is kosher. So why was he quiet? Meaning, if he's not a chalal, why doesn't he say I'm not a chalal? So he doesn't care, right? Right? Because what's going to happen to him if he's a chalal? Nothing. He can marry whoever he wants. He can still marry whoever he wants if they're willing to marry him. But a Yisrael, he certainly can marry. And the Reb Shimon Elazar explained to the Tanakama, the Rameir, the Tanakama the Rameir, to the Tanakama Rameir, Ishmielach the Masha Rameir b'shsika. If you heard that Rameir says that if he's quiet, it's kosher, like the karole chalal v'shasik, it's not where you call him a chalal and he's quiet. Elo the karole mamzer v'shasik, and they call him a mamzer and he's quiet. So then why is he being materit? V'ay the shasik. So why is he being quiet? Savar mamzer kala islay. Says everybody's gonna know that a mamzer has a rumors, has a voice, and if nobody heard about it, then I don't have to worry. I'm a mamzer b'tzavach, but a mamzer, if you call him a mamzer and he yells, chalal v'shaisik, but as a chalal and he's quiet, then passul. V'hai de ishtik, why was he quiet? Savar mistaya de lemifkale makahol, right? It's enough that they're not bouncing me out of the whole. That they're not bouncing me out of Klal Yisrael, right? So, but when he's a mamzer, he's quiet, because Lamaisa Klal Yisrael is still gonna, accept him. He's still gonna be part of Klal Yisrael.
When he's a chalal, when he's a chalal,
yeah, no, when he's a chalal.
You said mamzer, that's all.
No, because it was saying behind the shasik, meaning behind the ishtik. The reason why the chalal, was quiet, is because he says mistaya delay mafkale mikol, right? But and the mamzer. So why is if the mamzer yells out, is according to Rameir, is that a problem, right? Where is it? Right, other kole mamzer. I'm sorry, right? The mamzer was a shasik. By the shasik, savar mamzer kol is like the reason why he was quiet is because he felt it's a kol. Aval mamzer b'tzavach, right? So if he says if it's a mamzer and he cries out, chol of a shasik, then he says it's passul, right? Why would he say it's passul if the mamzer yells out? But first he explains the chalal, right? So why is the chalal considered passul if he's quiet? By the ishtik savar nestaya the leimafkule mikol. He's saying that it's enough that I don't. If he starts yelling, they're going to look into it and then they're going to attack him, make him a chalal, right? And then they might run into problems. But if he's quiet, then he figures that he'll just meaning Klal Yisrael doesn't really care about the rumors of chalal. So he's gonna get in and silently he'll be okay. He'll survive, right?
He'll get Yisrael instead of Kayin, and that's it.
Correct, right? And he's saying if he makes a rash, right, then they're gonna take a look into him. No, he's gonna get. He hopes he's gonna get Kayin. You're just assuming everybody's not gonna. Yeah.
Why by a chalal?
By the chalal.
I thought they just make him like a regular
No. But here this is the step. This is the step before that. This is where he doesn't even want to start yelling like this. He flies under the radar.
Why?
Correct.
Yeah, well,
like this, if he stays quiet, so he hopes it goes away. Right? But
he doesn't get on the line for trauma, that's right.
So that nobody looks into him.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't exactly. Under the radar, like you said.
Right. For a mamzer, so the question is, why is the mamzer yelling out then? Why is he not? Why is the mamzer yelling out that it's passul according to Rameir? No, saying what's wrong with if he yells out? So I thought because by him yelling out that
he's protesting by him being quiet, then he's being noida.
Right, but here he's saying the Rameir is saying that if he yelled, the mamzer yells out, he's a mamzer b'tzava chalal v'shaisek passul, right? I'm trying to remember what the pshat is. Why should he? Why should him yelling make him passul? I'm not sure. I don't remember now what the pshat is. Why should he be? Well, I'm saying, what does the yelling make him worse according to Rameir? Okay, I don't remember now. Okay, well, but really another tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so then fine. So then Gemara says, "Fine." So Tani Chader Rav Yossi Shtoik mamzer kosher, right? The Rav Yossi says if a guy is quiet when they tell him that he's a mamzer, he's kosher. Shtoik chalal passul. If he's quiet for chalal, he's passul. But Tani Yidoch Shtoik chalal kosher, Shtoik mamzer passul. It's the exact opposite. So what's going on here? Which one does he hold? So like Kasha, Tanakama leave the Rameir. One is the Tanakama according to Rameir. Other of Shimon Elazar leave the Rameir, like we just said. There's a Machlokes in what Rameir held about the mamzer. Yeah. Okay, should we stop here? Let's just do the Mishnah a little bit. It's just the Mishnah. There was a story with a girl. Right, she went to go fill up water from the river. But then somebody raped her. So now Shiloh is who raped her. If a guy raped her, she's possible to marry a kohen. Right? And if it's a regular yid, then she's kosher. So Amar Rav Yochanan Manuri, Imroi Vanchir, Masin Lakuna. If most of the city, like we say, it's the same yesod as we've been saying. If the majority of the city would be kosher to marry a kohen, then she can marry a kohen. Harezu to Nasi Lakuna, she can marry a kohen. Right, that's what Rav Yochanan Benuri says. So Zok the Gemara.
Why do we need the first part of that Mishnah?
What do you mean?
I can just say Isha that was Mahanis.
I mean, why does it say that she went down to the Mayan?
Yep.
I guess that was
it's telling you she was doing nothing wrong. She was just doing what the Emos did. She was a fine, upstanding girl.
It's a good sushtel taka. That's what they went to the water. I hear. Because nowadays the men would have to go down to the well to get the water, right? We understand that. Maybe that's what it's saying, right? So anyway, so yeah, I don't know taka parrots, but that's I hear. So okay, so Zok Digma, Frekting, Armale Rabbale Rav Nachman, Rabbi Yochanan Benuri, Domer Kaman. Who does Rabbi Yochanan Benuri go like? Ikar Rabbi Gamliel, who again says we believe the woman. Afilu Baroy Psul Nami Masha, right? We said that Rabbi Gamliel holds that when she's a vadai, right? We just said when she's a bari, we don't care about the safek, and she's kosher. Ikar Rabbi Yeshua, and if it's like Yeshua, Afilu Baroy Ksherim Nami Passul. Rabbi Yeshua says she's never believed, even if it's a rive. So who is Rabbi Yochanan Benuri going like that? He's looking that you have to look at the rive, right? So Amar Le Hachi Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, the kroinos, and there's a big yesod here. The story happened when it was the shuk, it was the market day, where there were many visitors, right, that came there, right? And there was a whole traveling crew of Yidden that came through. So Memela, it's a double roiv. It's a very fascinating concept in roiv. There's a double roiv. One, that there's a roiv of the city that's kosher, and even the people that were traveling through is an additional roiv. So whoever it was, then there's a double roiv, and therefore she's believed. If she's nivala and the kroinos, then she's kosher to kahuna. The kroinos agadaitach she's nivala, she slept with the guy in the wagon, doesn't mean that. Ella nivala b'shas krainos ksheira l'kahuna. Right? If she was nivala b'shas krainos, she's kosher l'kahuna. So I just wanted to get that in. We'll obviously start it up again tomorrow, but because there's this concept called of a double roiv, right? Where roiv are the people in the city are kosher, and roiv are the people that are traveling through the city are kosher. So since it's a double roiv, according to Riyachin Benuri, we believe it. But if it would only be one roiv, then we don't.
The guy raped her.
Correct. Exactly.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Right. It's a double roiv that.
What is a double roiv? What is a double roiv in Halacha mean?
That's what it is. It's a double roiv. We don't know for sure, but we're saying. Well, who is it? If it's from the city, the majority of the men in the city are kosher. And if it was people traveling through, the majority of the people traveling through are kosher. So either way you look at it, it's going to be we're going to look at it from a roiv, and therefore it's kosher. Right? So that's, it came up. I was going to discuss it tomorrow if you want. There was the stories, there was a whole tshuva. I happened to come across this from a Yisrael Reisman yesterday, having nothing to do with this sugya. There's a whole tshuva back and forth with the Stipler and his mechut and Rabbi Yashiv about Nebuch after the Milchama, when Goyim would come with the Jewish kids and they would say, here's a kid they dropped off by me and the kid's Jewish. Right? Now, do you believe that the kid is Jewish or not? Meaning, does the kid need a gator? They had all the orphanages, right? In Eretz Yisrael. And the question was, do we believe this guy that this kid is Jewish, or do we make her have a gairus? So the Stipler would say, well, why not just do a gairus? He said, no, these people have enough stress. They don't have a pet mother. They don't have a father. They finish with the Muhammad, and now you're going to make them get a gairus too? Stipler was not. The Stipler. Right? So there's a whole tshuva back and forth, and it has to do with a double right. They get involved with this Gemara. If you find a kid, it comes up over the next blot or two, this whole sugya. We'll rechazer it again tomorrow, Bez Hashem, to get it. But that's the practical shiloh.
That's not the shiloh now with all the Ukrainian stuff?
Could be. Yeah, could be. But there, the problem is that the Rav is Goyim.
Right. But there also, don't they say, like with the Russians, Ukrainians, they want to be Jewish? The kids, the priests had no vested interest in making Jews.
Right. So the thing is like this. So one of the chazakas that they bring in, which I hate to bring in another chazaka, but is that a chazaka is a woman does not give up her baby. Unless if it's hers, she does not give it up. Right? I don't know when we'll come across that, but if this woman is giving up her baby, then there's got to be, and she's saying it's Jewish, then it's got to be that she's saying the truth, because no woman just gonna voluntarily gives up her child like that.
The Maisa with Flymy Melech or the other one?
What, split in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good, Tucker. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Good enough, everybody. It's a pretty short. For a hard daf, daf, it's pretty short. But I guess if you don't know what's flying, you could do it fast. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Have a good night. Hey, your father's there. He just logged off.